Hi FlossTube, welcome back to my channel, So Much to Learn. My name is Shelley and today is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019. I decided to come make FlossTube instead of going to the gym. I figure eventually I'll make it back to the gym. Tonight is a cycling class that I really enjoy, but Thursday there is a Zumba class. I'm not very coordinated. I have trouble getting my feet and my hands moving. A lot of times I'll have to stop and recalibrate and go again. Then there are other times where I can get my feet going, but not my hands and arms. And I've never figured out how to get my feet, arms, and hips all moving together. But I was talking to my students today about multiple intelligences and that we all learn better in different ways, but it doesn't mean we give up. It just means we know where we're strong and we know where we're have room for improvement. And ultimately, I figure if I keep going, I will catch on and I'll get better the more I go. I find it a little bit ironic that tonight, as I was gathering all of my books and projects, that Shelley Cooper and Amy Farrah Fowler can do a YouTube video, Fun with Flags, and they seem to do it naturally. I, on the other hand, have been cutting and editing my work. The more I do this, the more I'll get comfortable with it. But I do tend to get tongue-tied. I just stop talking, and you don't really need to see those parts of the YouTube clip, and that's why I take them out. Yesterday was Labor Day, and I was able to sit on the couch and stitch. I also went through my box that has a lot of old patterns from the late 80s and early 90s while I was watching FlossTube. I do love FlossTube and watching your videos. I've only been here since April, so it hasn't been very long, but you have taken over a large part of my life because I would much rather stitch and listen to FlossTube. I even look up now and again where I will usually read a book while TV's on in the background. I live in a really tiny condo. It's about 800 square feet. And I feel lucky that I'm able to own this, but it's in California and the prices are astronomical. I know after I retire from teaching that I'm going to move somewhere back east. Today is not that day. I have probably 12 more years, and I look forward to moving near Virginia, where my best friend and her family live. And my brother lives in North Carolina, an hour apart. My niece right now is in Missouri, and this summer when I travel back east, I'll also plan a trip to see her because I haven't seen her in a couple years since she lived in Tennessee. Well, now I'm going to talk about the booklets that I purchased when I was um, probably between 17 and 24. That was when I was stitching quite a bit. I got very sick in high school. I almost died. The doctors weren't able to diagnose me. Uh, and later on, after I graduated high school, they finally did a test and discovered that I have Crohn's disease. So while I was sick and while I was waiting to get cured, not that you can cure Crohn's disease, um, I did get into stitching, and that's where I'm going to start my book parade. So, what I'm going to do is preface the first set of books that I'm giving you. They're not necessarily my style, but when I was purchasing them at Michael's, uh, I grabbed them. This I purchased for my best friend who got married in 1988 before we both graduated from high school. And she's the person that I love most in the world. And I plan on moving closer to her and her family um, when I retire, which I just mentioned. This is the actual pattern that I stitched for her and her husband who divorced. I left myself a note, and on the note it says her eyes brown and his eyes blue, because I did want to have their character traits, their physiological traits, in a part of the stitch. My best friend, Tony, she keeps everything, so I know that she has this somewhere in her attic. She's divorced. She's not going to display this, nor do I expect her to. I really don't see myself making any more of these patterns from this book, but here are a couple cuties you can see. And it is, sorry, it is definitely a precious moments um, book. So what I'll probably do is set this aside, and once I have enough subscribers, I'll start giving some of my books away. Because as a stitcher, I don't care if my books are new. I just hope the patterns are legible, and that's what I'm looking for. In fact, I like these older patterns mainly because they're made out of a sturdier stock than what we can get today that's printed off of a copy machine. This is my second book, and I don't know the order in which I purchased them. When I went through them yesterday, I decided to put them from my least favorite to my favorite. I really don't remember stitching anything out of this book, even though they're kind of cute. Rabbits inside. I like rabbits. The reason I purchased these books is there weren't a lot that were available in the 80s, and therefore I felt that I needed to purchase more of them when they came out. By the way, I just said it again, and I'd like to point out I don't want to tell you in every video from the 80s, from the 80s. I'm going to break myself of that habit, but today it's a little more difficult only because these patterns literally are from the 80s. So if you bear with me, I'm going to stop saying it, I really promise. But if I don't, I have a feeling it could be a really fun drinking game. Either that or drink every time I say something incorrect. Because going back to my first two videos, I did say things that weren't true, even though I didn't deliberately mean to do that. I think it's my nerves getting the better of me. So I know this community, you're all fair and non-judgmental, and I know you're going to cut me some slack, and I appreciate that. The next pattern book is Cherished Teddies. And of course, I love teddy bears. These are adorable. Who doesn't love a teddy bear? But I've outgrown this pattern as well. And I can't say I remember making anything from the pattern. I would like to see if there are any pictures inside to show you. A little baby bear in a bassinet. Um, so again, this book, pattern book, will probably be a giveaway again when I get more subscribers. Now, this one, so why are all these um, patterns kind of childish or for children? Well, in the 80s and 90s, see, you can take a shot. That's fine. In the 80s and 90s, my friends were having families. I was never lucky enough to meet someone that I wanted to start a family with. And so I've been stitching and participating in their lives vicariously since I wasn't lucky enough to have my own children. That ship has sailed. I won't have a child. I'm almost 50. Um, but as a teacher, I'm able to touch many lives. It's not the same, but um, it lets me shape and help build the character of our youth today. Nursery, playtime nursery. Okay. Um, I can't even tell you if I stitched something from here. Although this that block looks really familiar. So perhaps I did. Let me see if I have any notes inside. Yeah, I must have stitched something in here. it is, I can't show it to you, of course, but I do like the colors. Again, one for water babies. Does anyone like this? Does anyone have this? Is this something you would like? Any of these pattern books for babies? I think babies and the patterns, a lot of them are teddy bears and ducks. And I don't think the patterns have changed too much. But I have seen some baby samplers as I've been looking through the different websites. Now, this looks like it belongs in a bed and breakfast from the 80s. It could be the wallpaper in the back. I just don't know. And this is not anything I would stitch today either. I almost flipped it around, but there's pattern directly on the back of this. So, what about these? The biggest difference in my style, now that I have a wide variety of patterns to choose from, the biggest difference I see in what I purchase is that I like bright jewel tones and vivid colors. A lot of what I was showing you is pastel, and it kind of blends into the background, and that's not really what I prefer. I did like the teddy bear or the bear here in the hat. I thought that was a really nice pattern. It says this book is for working with waste canvas, and I do have some waste canvas that I found in the box, but you can do this on any cloth that you want. I wouldn't necessarily put it on a shirt. There is a pattern in here that I stitched on a sweatshirt. That was the most miserable pattern. Well, the pattern wasn't miserable, but stitching through the fleece of the sweatshirt, my hands were raw from trying to push the needle up into the fabric and through. So I wouldn't recommend working on sweatshirt material. All right. So Looney Tune. I've always loved the Tasmanian Devil and Bugs Bunny over here. Does this remind you of the cartoons we watched as children? There are a few more back here. The rooster over here was my dad's favorite character. And so Pepe Le Pew, right? Or is I no, that's not Pepe Le Pew. But again, these are in waste canvas as well, and I don't see myself stitching any of these. And when you have one book of Looney Tune characters, what's better than another book? We have the Martian down here. He showed up on cartoons. There, I knew I had Pepe Le Pew right here, and another Tasmanian Devil. It's really difficult pointing to the correct side um, when I'm looking at this in backwards. So I don't see any patterns I can show you inside. Oh, here's one. That's kind of cute. Bugs Bunny in a Christmas wreath making a list to Santa. All right. But again, not something that I would stitch. So maybe one of you are interested. It's really hot in the house and in San Jose where I live. And by hot, I mean like 85, which is ironic. So you can see my hair is a little wet. I have the fan blowing directly on me, and I'm trying to just survive the heat right now. Okay, so I remember stitching this. I do not remember who I stitched it for. A beautiful single carousel horse. So a lot of my friends I don't have anymore from that time period. Again, they got married, they moved away. I moved away for a while and then I came back. And when I did that, um, I made new friends because they had moved on with their life. They're sorry about that. I got to get the hair out of my face. Here, the mythical dragons. I've seen some like this on um, in the stores by PDFs, and this is the one right here. Oh, I got it right. This one right here. I stitched the dragon on the sweatshirt. That's what I was talking about. I didn't use the gold down here and up in the other corner, but it was gorgeous when it was done. And I did use waste canvas, and that was a bummer to pull out. And I've heard other people having problems with it as well. I don't ever think I'll stitch from this book again because I'm not really into mythical and fairy tale type books. These are just other patterns that could be purchased. And that looks like, see, that looks like a magician or a wizard, and of course, a castle. Maybe someone's into cats. But these patterns back here are not in the book that I have. And I haven't really found anything by True Colors. All right. It does say it's um, a New Zealand group, perhaps, but um, the pattern is by Sharon Sutherland Pope. So if you like this one, eventually it will come up to give away as well. For this pattern, I see this pattern every time I go to my parents' house because it's an FFO that I finished and had framed for my mother. And then my mother supposedly made the second or the companion piece for me, but she never gave it to me. And so I asked her why it was in her bathroom, and she said it was mine. And she keeps the one I made for her in her bathroom. And this is a clown. I hope you're not, maybe I should have warned you about the clowns first. This is the one I did. And I can't apparently get a good picture of all this glitter. All of this, sorry, all of this is confetti being thrown from one hand to the other where it ends in a bow. This looks horrible. And why it looks horrible is because I did it all in cross country and I can see where the thread goes beneath. But I have to tell you, if I was to do it again today, and maybe I will, I don't know if I would do it differently because I've never pin stitched with Krynic, and that's what this glitter is. It's all Krynic, which is crazy. So again, this is the one I made, and perhaps next time I'm over there, I'll take a picture of each of them. This is the one my mother made, and it's the one she keeps in her bathroom. All right. And if I go over and take a picture of it, I may show it to you eventually. I'm going to pause and pick up another stack of pattern books. So give me just a minute and I'll be right back. I'm back. Ooh, I'm back. I thought I'd share with you the water bottle that I drink my beverages out of. I love iced tea, but what I found is if I have something without a lid on it, I tend to spill accidentally and it gets on my patterns. In fact, one of the patterns that I made recently had some coffee stains on it because the coffee spilled into my pattern bag and everything, not everything, but the corner of it did get stained. So the reason I use these sports bottles is so that I can drink it safely without worrying about getting the tea or the coffee on everything. I'm a big iced tea drinker, and I know this is probably appalling and shocking to those friends in the South and back east. I cannot drink sweet tea. So the tea that I drink is straight up, and it's really simple to make. I take two jumbo-sized Lipton tea bags, throw them in my gallon um, teapot, fill it with hot water from the tap, and I leave it on my counter overnight. And then the next day, once I've stopped drinking coffee, I will then start partaking in the iced tea. So I probably drink more caffeine than I should, but I've really cut myself off from soda. I do drink it occasionally, and I have to tell you, the best Coca-Cola that you can purchase is at McDonald's. They have a secret to their they have a formula more than a secret, but they have a formula to how they serve and purchase the Coke from Coca-Cola. Most places have the Coke in boxes, whereas McDonald's had this partnership early on where they got it in, I believe, metal casks. That's not a word. Metal like kegs, and then they keep it in at an optimal temperature. So ultimately, when you buy the Coke at McDonald's and you think it tastes better, that's because they have a different formula than every other um, restaurant that serves it. Speaking of my caffeine addiction, have you seen my birthday salve? It's all about coffee, and there are 12 different squares. My birthday is on September 25th, but I work until September, whatever that Friday is. And then this year, for some strange reason, we're taking a week off. And I'm going to drive to Albuquerque, New Mexico, because I want to see the balloon fiesta. And while I'm on that trip, I want to stop by some LNSs and check out what they have. But while I'm also gone, I'm going to start this pattern. And my goal is to complete one square a month, which is super easy. I say that now, it doesn't mean I'll get it done. I have a couple other people that are joining this SAL, and I would encourage you to buy it as well if you want to join. This is Coffee Break, and you can get it from DesignWorks on Amazon. And I'll put a link below, and you can get the pattern from there. If you haven't seen my other videos, I've posted a link of the original artwork, and I'm going to buy some variegated floss for the background of each square that matches her artwork as closely as possible. When I say her, I really mean the artist Krista Hamrick. And she does have an Etsy store for her original artwork. She does not make cross stitch on her own, but she's had her patterns, some of her artwork purchased and turned into patterns. I think if you like her original artwork, you might be able to partner her up with a better designer. She has a pattern called School Days. I'm a teacher. I'm in love with that pattern. I would love to be able to stitch that for the classroom. So go by her Etsy shop and see her work. I think as art, it's beautiful, but as cross stitch, a different type of art, it can have the same effect and the same beauty. I also have a couple tiny kits. This is a precious bear in a sailor suit with the unicorn. Now, I'm pretty sure I bought this because Tony, my best friend, her husband was in the Navy, and I may have bought this for one of her children. What I find very interesting about the pattern is that when I opened it up, I had part of it done. So officially, this can be my FFO. No, it can't. It's my what do you call it when you don't finish a pattern? UFO instead of a FFO. It's hard to tell from the computer, but my stitches are pretty darn consistent. And I find that amazing because right now I'm struggling. I'm not going to give up, right? I just need that practice to get my stitching even better. And if you like that, I also have a kit that I never opened from Mill Hill Renaissance Angel. It has all the beads and all the thread along with the Aida. And this will definitely go to someone as a gift when I get so many subscribers. Original beads, original thread, and you can see the cloth back here. So it might be something that even you are interested in stitching. Now, I love this pattern and I'm not ready to part with it yet. And I think you'll understand how I realized I loved this. I'm not religious. My parents never took us to church, my brother and I. I do believe in a higher power, a higher being. I am spiritual. I talked about burning oregano and incense in the house in my first, no, in my second video. But I love this pattern because I think it speaks to so many of us. None of us, none of us are perfect. And I love this one so much that I started it 3 different times. I'll show you my favorite one last. I don't think I finished this. Um, I don't think I liked the colors. And so this would be another UFO. And then I decided to start it over with different colors. I like the colors. I don't know what I was thinking at the time because I started it a third time. If you know what this fabric is or the color of this fabric, it's like an oatmeal, but I would love to find this fabric and look at that. This is the one I got the farthest on, and that is stunning. I love the browns, I love the blue, the greens, and the maroon. It just, this one, this pattern just really does speak to me. I was doing the back stitch, and that's why there's still thread there. And luckily, even though I don't know the exact shade of brown, and I don't have a um, a bobbin because I bobbinate, or I did bobbinate, I'm in the process of um, not bobbinating anymore. And what I'm thinking about doing, and I find this ironic because Brenda, the handworking maniac, was talking about um, Stephanie and Pam's video about how they put their floss in floss away bags and then put a card inside to make it sturdier. I watched that same exact video about a month or two ago. It was in my feed, and I'm like, oh, let me watch it. Well, I bought a whole bunch of floss for a Star Wars pattern and I set it up, but I didn't use the floss away bags. I used the mini snack bags that you can purchase mainly because I didn't need my bag to say floss away. But Brenda was talking about switching over to that as well. And I just thought that was really ironic that no matter how long we've been stitching, we all learn from each other. Probably if you love, oh, sorry, if you really love this pattern, let me know because after I'm finished, I could be persuaded to pass it on because I already have three. How many more copies do I need of it? And then I, oops, try not to show the actual pattern. And then I found waste canvas. I didn't pay that much for it, $1.69. And I have some 14 count Aida, right? This was on clearance, so I definitely bought that and snatched it up. Didn't use it. I think I need to find a project for this. and it could be a Christmas project. All Both of these are 14 count Aidas. I remember using 16. I don't know if I ever used 18 count Aida. I also have it wrapped up in a tube. I found two. I found a sterling and I found a white. And so I even have some of that left over. Sorry, that was me throwing something. This is one of my favorite samplers to make when my friends have had a child, and the name goes down here in the middle, and then the two hearts, although you can't see it, the the two hearts, they have the child's weight and the child's height, all right, for when they're born. I did find this on Amazon, so you can still get used copies of it. So I probably won't part with this. And I do have a picture because I gave this away at Christmas last year for one of my favorite babies. And when I call him a baby, he just turned 6. He has Down syndrome. He doesn't speak yet. So I think in my mind that, oh, he's still a baby, he doesn't speak. He isn't, he's becoming independent, but he isn't quite there yet. He loves to dance, and I was so happy to be able to give that to him as a memory. Right. This one I bought last year before I got back into stitching. And you can tell the difference in the flowers that I choose between the earlier patterns and this pattern. And I adore flowers, bright, vivid colors. That orange down here at the bottom is gorgeous. I don't know. I just, our tastes change. They really do. Now, here's a dimensions kit. And I do have, well, it's not a kit anymore because I used it. I've made this pattern as well. And the date, oh, okay, I said the height and the weight. It's the date of birth and the weight that will go on this one as well as the other one that I just mentioned. I'm probably ready to give this one up now if someone's out there who would like it. I don't know, because I don't know what your tastes are. I've made this one and I adore this. And I love that teddy bear and the mom and the baby bear. Bedtime is hug time and I want to hug. That should be everything. That should be how we treat our children. And then this is stitched on a little blanket, not blanket, but you know what it is. And I'm not sure the correct word. So I do love this one. But again, even though I saw this on a couple websites as used, that's another pattern that I probably won't make again. Here's another one. Guardian angel, pure and bright, guard me while I sleep tonight. I remember making this, but I don't remember who I made it for. So if you like this dimensions pattern, um, if you like any of my patterns or all of my patterns, let me know. I can't tell you who I made this for, but I'm pretty sure it was for Tony because she said I made one for her. And I remember stitching this. I remember the Krynic in it, and I remember working on the wings. Uh, had I thought about it back then, I would have taken pictures and written myself notes in the actual pattern books, but I didn't. I know there are many of you that just love to stitch angels, and an angel embracing and holding a child is so special. I'm not going to stitch that because just like I mentioned, Um, I don't want to stitch the baby samplers and the precious moments. I'm not really into stitching angels and celestial bodies, any of that. So I think this might get some of you excited. So try not to jump up and down because this is not a unicorn pattern. The book might be a unicorn, but I know for a fact that you can buy these patterns separately online as a PDF. And I'm kind of teasing you a little bit. The book is Four Seasons Fairies by Teresa Wentzler. And there's a Christmas fairy up here. And uh, I I'm not sure, but by product of elimination, we can figure it out. This is the winter fairy. I want to say this is the summer fairy, and this is the autumn fairy. But I think I got really excited when I found this pattern because it was something that took time. Anyone that knows a Teresa Winsler pattern knows about her um, passion of blending threads. And I figured, who cares if it takes me forever to stitch? I can stitch all four of these, and I can just take my time doing it and enjoying it. So here's a larger picture of the fairy on the apples. I love that. And I started stitching that one. Each one is 4 pages. I did actually have to reinforce the book because it's used and I had to tape it along the edges. This one's gorgeous too, if I can get it. I know she had them tilted on purpose, but just looking off into the distance. And I wasn't, well, let me see. I keep pulling up, of course, the ones that are there. I love this one. I love the Christmas feel to it, just with the greenery here and the greenery over here. Gorgeous. Um, can I have a least favorite? Why not? If I had a least favorite, it in itself is gorgeous as well. Maybe this is spring. I think I left spring off. And the only reason this would have been my least favorite is the color of the actual flowers. Um, yes, they're white, maybe a pale pink, but remember, I mentioned she has this passion for blending colors. She's been doing this forever, and it's okay to show you the color chart. I'm not showing you the actual pattern. All right. So, one other book that I purchased is Celtic Cross Stitch, and there are some very interesting patterns in here that I thought I might stitch. Um, I didn't. I ended up using this in class, and I was talking about illuminated texts with my seniors, and we moved from oral tradition and storytelling into the written word. And I had them um, create their name, and they had to take the first letter of their name and turn it into illuminated text, and then the rest of the letters in their name could be in calligraphy or cursive or another pattern that really stood out. Now I jumped to the illuminated text before I was ready because guess what I've got? I there is some glare to it. I apologize. Oh, there we go. Try to get it even. I framed this myself. I'm sure you can tell. And I would say I was pretty proud of the job that I did. I found patterns, not patterns, I found the frames at Michael's and I bought four because my goal had been to stitch all four patterns. Um, what I might do after seeing some of your videos on stretching and pinning and pulling, I don't know all the terminology. I may decide that I want to give it a try. Oh, and the glare went away doing that. So this was my favorite fairy. And what I find interesting is that when I go back and look at my wish lists on each of the online stores, pattern after pattern is Christmas. So I told you my patterns and designs have changed my preferences. When I'm able to pick anything in the world that I want to choose, I really like um, I really like Christmas. There's something about winter. There's something about the joy and seeing children so happy and families happy. Um, I really like that time of the year, and I wish more people would feel that way throughout the rest of the year and not just save it up for Christmas. I'm leaning over because remember, I have four frames. This one, the Rose Fairy, again, I framed this on my own. I could, I don't think it's a bad job, oops, without knowing how to frame. But oh, there we go. But I could do better. And when I'm feeling ambitious, I may just take these out of the frames and redo it um, because there's no reason or rule that says I can't. All right. The last one that I really wanted to do is I believe it's become a UFO, but I did get the spring fairy. I don't know. These are apples. Maybe it's the fall fairy. You can let me know. I know someone knows because right now I'm not keeping track of the seasons except winter, my favorite. The roses, I have to say, the roses were summer. This might be fall, and then spring for the one that I never did. It's missing a lot of back stitch, but the majority of the work is done. Let me see if I can find the pattern again. Turn it over. Yeah, the I can't see. There we go. You can tell the majority of it's done. Most of the hard work is taken care of. So I really do need to take some time and just finish this up and frame it. I think I will do that. I'm going to wait till I get some more practice with stitching, um, getting back into it. But I really am um, pretty sure I'll finish this one as well. I think I need to, since it's so close to being done. All the dress is done, the apples are 80% done, and then there's that tiny part right up at the top that I could easily do. All right. So, what I want to share with you now is my planned new start. I showed you my birthday sale, and I did tell you I was starting that on October 1st. The In my other life, when I'm not on FlossTube, I am a pirate. And that may sound funny, but the pirate is the mascot for the school that I work at, for the high school. I do teach high school. Um, I'm scared of the younger grade levels, probably because I never had children of my own. I just don't know what to do with kids that young. I definitely love high school, and I think that's my niche, only because I love the conversations we have around everyday occurrences and around life. In December, We finish the first semester in December before we go to Christmas break. It's now called winter break, right? But we have a ski week in February, and then we have um, an Easter week later on. Those are just the weeks that we had when I was growing up, but now we're more politically correct and we talk about celebrating diversity, which I'm okay with. But I do still see Christmas break as Christmas break, and that's just something I'm hanging on to with my nails. We do a gift exchange. We have Secret Santas with the teachers, and this will be the third year I've participated. And make sure I get her name right. Sue Hillis. I love her designs, and I think I have three of them already. But I'm going to make this for my Secret Santa. Pirates love Christmas. I think the Aida cloth or whatever cloth is used, because it's probably not Aida, call it linen um, or even weave. I like that even. I'm going to try using this gorgeous blue color. See, oh yeah. I don't think you can get um, the real effect. Oh, there we go. That's probably the real effect. This is the smallest count um, fabric that I'll use so far, and I need to get an light that magnifies. This is a 28 count Mystic Cashel linen, and I look forward to trying it. And I can try it on something small. I don't see myself going smaller than 28, although it is possible. Um, I just have to give it a try to see. Those of you that use this would be 1/1 on 28. I know a lot of you do 2/2, or do you do 1/2? Um, I know 14 would be 2/1, and but I definitely think I want to try um, 1/1. Is that, would you recommend 1/1 on 28 count, or maybe even 2/1 on 28 count? Although two strands of floss over one square, it doesn't seem feasible. But leave me a comment below on what you think. I will do a floss toss on this to get colors that work well, because this is a vibrant mottled blue. All right. So for many of you, you sent your kids back to work today. Work, your kids don't work. You sent them back to school today. It's the first day after Labor Day. I was wondering if you remember who your favorite teacher was while you were going to school. Do you still stay in touch? Um, I don't know favorite teachers I had in high school. There was a Timothy Barr who taught math, and I really wanted to learn from him. And then we got a student teacher that took his place. And for some reason, I gave up any effort at all to learning math. But I remember wanting to learn from him. And then there was Bonnie Waterer who taught home ec, and I loved her class. And um, Tony and I took classes together. But I was wondering who your favorite teachers were in any grade level. I have the distinct pleasure that my school district that I work in is so large um, that I went to high school in the school district where I now work. I just work at the rival school. So many of the teachers that I had in high school I've become friends with. And so I could tell you who I like now. I really can't tell you who I didn't like, or who wasn't a good teacher for me. I don't think I was a good student, mainly because I was so very, very sick. And a lot of times I would sleep in class because I was miserable and I was in constant pain. And I really thank the teachers that helped me through my time. And now that you're sending your kids back to school, remember to thank a teacher. Tell them that tell them that they make a difference in the life of your child and in the life of your family, if in fact they do. Um, because for the most part, we are there to do good. There are some bad teachers, yes, but that's true of every profession. You have people in every profession that strive to do their best every day, people in every profession that struggle every day to keep their head above water. And then there are people in every profession that probably should find another career. Luckily, those are fewer and far between. But if you have a favorite story or a favorite teacher and you'd like to share a story, I'd love to hear about it. And you can leave a comment below. But for now, I think I finally found my FlossTube groove because I've been going almost 30 minutes without having to stop and edit my work. And I have to say, I am impressed with myself because I really didn't think that it would be possible, not after my FlossTube 1 and 2. So have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you soon. If you like my video, please like it and subscribe. And once I get some subscribers, I'm more than happy to do some giveaways. So have a great day.